it's not true. It's not none of it, I swear.
Are you denying that Tank Jarvis was in love with you? Answer the question, Miss Austin.
He said he was.
Didn't he ask you to marry him?
Yes.
Didn't you refuse him? Didn't you reject him?
No, I didn't reject him. He knew that... I told him I couldn't be serious about him.
Well, you must have had this conversation with him quite recently.
No.
Wasn't it true that Tank Jarvis tried to contact you many times, even during the course of this trial?
Well, I guess he did once or twice.
One of those attempted contacts resulted in an assault upon the district attorney while he was visiting you for business.
Oh, yes, Tank did that, but I never really had a chance to talk to him.
That's right, you didn't talk to him. You didn't want to talk to him. And that's when he realized that you were no longer grateful for the favor that he did for you on the night of March the 2nd.
No, Tank had nothing to do with it. I didn't see him. I mean, I never saw him at all.
Did you try, when you saw Tank Jarvis, did you forget that he had this tape of you?
No!
Or did you think he erased it?
I mean, I didn't even know there was a tape. I didn't know. How could I?
Yes, but a tape of this did exist, didn't it? Well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Austin. I have no more questions, Your Honor.
You may step down, Miss Austin. Mr. Scott, does the defense wish to call another witness?
No, Your Honor. At this time, the defense rests.
Does the prosecution wish to make its closing remarks to the jury?
Yes, Your Honor. If it please the court, I will make our summation.
Very well.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have chosen to make the closing remarks for the prosecution for a particular reason. Throughout the testimony that you've heard in this trial, I have been something more than just the people's representative in this case. In fact, I have been a principal in the drama which is unfolded before you. It's because of this that I've refrained from taking a more direct participation. In fact, my initial instinct was to disqualify myself from any participation in this trial whatsoever. But then, I decided that the cause of justice would be better served by my presence. And make no doubt of that. It is the cause of justice which we are sworn to uphold at the district attorney's office. We are pledged to pursue that, not merely the accumulation of a large number of convictions. For instance, if during the course of a trial we found that we had cause to doubt our initial certainty of guilt, we would be obliged to come forward and express that doubt. If we found evidence which proved a defendant not guilty, well, we would be obliged to introduce that evidence on the part of the defendant. But there is another factor in this case other than objective justice. As I've told you, it's been very difficult for me to be objective about this case, and not merely because of my prior involvement with the defendant, but because of my deep, deep sympathy for her. And that is the reason that I have chosen to make these remarks, to demonstrate to you that sympathy and justice are not incompatible. They do not contradict one another. You may feel deeply for the plight of a person accused of a criminal act, but yet there must be a separation of emotion and judgment. I've been forced to make that separation during this trial. I'm sure you have as well. I'm sure you all realize that the defendant, Miss Austin, was driven to the choice she made, to the act she committed. But lest there be any doubt in your minds that she did make that choice, commit that act, I ask you only to remember the testimony of the 3 prosecution witnesses that you have heard in this trial, and to remember what you yourselves have witnessed here on this screen.
I worked late. The bus was late. Oh, and now so is dinner.
Hi, can I give you a hand?
Who are you?
I'm the helping hand you get from Hamburger Helper.
You can help?
Sure, because Hamburger Helper can help you make a delicious hearty skillet dinner in a snap.
Hey, Mom, this is good.
Yeah, and quick.
Sometimes the hand is quicker than the eye. Hamburger Helper, tuna helper too, when you need a helping hand.
There's a new kind of Cheerios waiting in your breakfast bowl.
It's a honey oven oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios. It's the sunny taste of honey, rugged, wholesome, and kind of naughty. It's a honey oven oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Now there's regular and new Honey Nut Cheerios.
Part of our nutritious breakfast.
Honey Nutty flavor.
Sure as one, honey, even now.
It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
This oven's a mess.
Try Mr. Muscle. Try Mr. Muscle.
But that's the overnight cleaner. Would you look outside? The sun is shining.
There's a new Mr. Muscle.
New improved formula. Works daytime or overnight, and it cleans tough baked-on food spots. Just wipe. Just wipe. For quick daytime or easy overnight, you're the Just Wipe oven cleaner.
That's new Mr. Muscle.
Here's my old furniture polish. Pledge. Here's my new. Behold. Here's why. I had problems cleaning greasy marks like these crayons. I'll spray Pledge here. Behold here. Guess what? Behold clean the mark better. Frankly, both are fine for shining, cleaning, and protecting. But why not use the one that cleans greasy marks better? And are you ready for this? Costs less, too.
Behold, a lot of cleaning for less money.
Wade Meecham was a pornographer, an extortionist, blackmailer, a man of such base character that the police, in their initial investigation, were hard-pressed to find a single acquaintance of the man who could not be considered his enemy. But only one person killed him. Only one. And it is not the duty of the prosecution to ask you to understand, condone, or forgive the action that that person took. If there's to be clemency in this case, that will be up to those whose duty it is to decide the punishment. The prosecution's responsibility is to present you with the facts as they are and ask you to draw the only possible conclusion. Now, what are the facts in this case? First, we've clearly established a motive for the killing, to get rid of a blackmailer and to seize the incriminating evidence which he possessed. We have clearly established a time and a place in which the crime took place. And we have clearly established through eyewitness testimony the presence of Winter Austin in that place at that time. And finally, you have been presented with evidence the like of which has not been seen since Jack Ruby shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald in the basement of the Dallas Police Department in front of the television cameras. And certainly no jury has ever seen evidence of this kind. Ladies and gentlemen, there is only one judgment possible in this case. Painful as that duty may be, you must return a verdict of guilty.
Mr. Scott, do you wish to make your closing remarks?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm certainly glad that the prosecuting attorney used the word sympathy in his closing remarks. Because I'm sure that every one of us, everybody in this courtroom, feels some amount of sympathy for the defendant, regardless of your sentiments concerning her guilt or her innocence. Winter Austin was very young when she became involved with Wade Meecham. A child, not yet out of her teens, and alone and unprotected. She responded to his song. Oh, I know, it's an old story. So old that some of you may be tired of hearing it. Blasé, indifferent. But it's an agony that many young women face in this country today, on the streets of every major city. But Winter Austin was lucky. Lucky because she entered a profession which promised nothing but total degradation. Yet she escaped. She got away from the influence of Wade Meecham. But then her fortunes changed. Wade Meecham came back into her life. He chose to live in the same city that Winter Austin was making her home. And this was a tragedy, because Meecham could not accept the fact that Winter Austin was making a new life for herself. Because he was a spoiler, and he was determined to spoil her life forever. There's a question that has to be answered here. Why, if Winter Austin hated and despised Meecham as much as I say she did the blackmail tape exist? Why did she permit him the intimacies recorded on that videotape? Ladies and gentlemen, she didn't give in to Meecham for pleasure or out of career advancement. She succumbed for love. But not for the love of this man, but for the love of the man she was going to marry. The man who stood in front of you several days ago and admitted that he accepted a bribe from Wade Meecham in order to spare the woman he loved any further pain. Miss Austin, made her sacrifice for the very same reason. To spare the man she loved. But what she didn't realize was that Wade Meecham was totally incapable of making an honest deal, that he would continue to use that tape against her indefinitely. And that's exactly what he did, and that's why her engagement was broken. You may be saying to yourselves right now that I have given you the perfect motive for murder. A murder which you presumably saw on this television screen. Yes, video is a remarkable medium. It's used in courts all across the country and by other agencies of justice because it provides irrefutable evidence of wrongdoing. It's a remarkable medium because video can so clearly tell the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware that videotape can also lie? Video is an electronic process. An electronic wonder that can be made to perform tricks right before your very eyes, and I'm going to show you one of those tricks.
Your Honor, we object. A demonstration in the middle of the defense's summation?
I'll overrule, but I hope that you can make a material connection, Mr. Scott.
Your Honor, I'm sure that the court will see from this demonstration that this is both relevant and enlightening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay very, very close attention. Now, what I'm going to show you is a very widely used and commonly accepted practice in video. It's called chroma key. What you see here is an empty office. There. The defendant, Winter Austin, appears out of nowhere. This is chroma key. It's a very simple process. All you need are two videotapes. One to record the background, and one to record the person you wish to place into that background, like that. Then, with some judicious editing, you put the two together.
Your Honor, there's no grounds for this conclusion. He's just trying to confuse the jury now with some technicalities.
Mr. Scott, you are not an expert witness. Now, if you have evidence that the tape we've just seen...
Your Honor, I have no intention of entering this tape as evidence. It is simply a demonstration so that the court might understand what could have happened. In fact, what did happen.
Your Honor, objection. This is a trick in freshman law school.
Now, there must be silence in this courtroom. Mr. Scott.
Your Honor, I am prepared to prove right now, right in front of this entire courtroom, that the tape which ended up in the possession of the prosecution, the so-called scene of murder tape, was a complete fraud and fabrication.
Your Honor, we demand a ruling on our objection. This is a desperate grandstand play by the defense.
I'll overrule and allow Mr. Scott to make good on his statement, if he can.
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to pay very close attention to this tape. That is the body of Wade Meecham. And the defense is prepared to admit at this time that the woman standing over the body of Wade Meecham is in fact the defendant, Winter Austin. Now, I would like you to hear the most important testimony given in this trial. Your Honor, if the court pleases, could I have the court stenographer please read back the testimony of Miss Amy Berry, recorded on April 12th.
The court stenographer will read back the testimony.
Mr. Nelson, Miss Berry, how long have you and
No, please skip ahead to the testimony regarding the gun and the firing of the shot.
Yes. Mr. Nelson, what time did you hear this shot? Miss Berry, like I said, it was just a minute after we got back to our room. Couldn't have been more than 9:05 then. Mr. Nelson, Miss Berry, what did you do when you heard this sound of gunfire? Miss Berry, well, we didn't want to meddle, but we wanted to find out what was happening, so we opened the door and looked out. Mr. Nelson, and you saw someone leaving Mr. Meecham's suite. Miss Berry, that's right. Saw this woman coming out of the place, looking sort of scared. She was wearing a blue coat with a little white fur collar.
That's enough, thank you. She was wearing a blue coat with a little white fur collar. Ladies and gentlemen, look very closely at this tape, because Winter Austin is wearing a coat without a fur collar.
Does your husband care about bathroom tissue?
He isn't particular.
Wait till he tries White Cloud. It's so much softer that your husband will care. Okay, Dolores, look over here. Who is that?
That's Ed.
Okay, what's comparing White Cloud to your brand?
This one here on the left feels softest.
Turn that one upside down and tell me what it says.
White Cloud.
Oh, is softness important in a bathroom tissue?
The softness would be important. Makes it a little more comfortable.
You can learn something after 21 years, can't you?
So what are you going to tell your wife?
Try White Cloud.
Your husband just picked White Cloud as softer than your brand. How soft do you think it is?
White Cloud must be very soft if he could feel that it's softer over our regular brand.
So what are you going to do?
Well, I'll try White Cloud.
Why?
If he thought it felt softer, then maybe the rest of the family will too.
How would you sum that all up?
The White Cloud is softer, and we'll give it a try. And Ed is fussier than I thought he was after 21 years.
Your family cares. Shouldn't you care to buy the softest? White Cloud.
On Ryan's Hope.
The other night you were in Ryan's all upset over Jill, and now you tell me you're going to marry Ray.
But Frank needs Delia's help to do it.
You mean you want me to state in writing that I was crazy?
Ryan's Hope. Weekdays on ABC.
Silence, please. Silence. If we can't have this courtroom in silence, I will have it clear.
Your Honor, please, the prosecution needs time to go over
Sit down,
this new
Mr. Nelson. Mr. Scott hasn't concluded his remarks.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is very little left to say, and only one conclusion that you can draw. All you need to do is take one good, hard look at this so-called incriminating videotape, and you will see something entirely different. You will see an attempt to frame a young woman for murder. An attempt that almost succeeded in convincing you, as it convinced me, that Winter Austin was the cold-blooded murderer of Wade Meecham. So, what we have here is not a murder on videotape. What we have here is a lie on videotape. A lie which could have led to a terrible injustice. And I can offer you technical proof that will give evidence that chroma key was used in this lie. And I'm sure that you are intelligent enough to realize that only the real killer of Wade Meecham could have made this tape, that only the real killer of Wade Meecham could have had the opportunity to photograph the body and then later add the lie of Winter Austin's presence. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to condemn or accuse the guilty. I am here to make sure the innocent do not suffer. We ask that you do the same.
Where have you been?
At the Colonel's, getting dinner for the family.
Must be tough pleasing a big family like yours.
Nah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Folks like it tender and juicy, with 11 herbs and spices. So, original recipe. My brothers like it crisp. So, extra crispy.
What about you?
I'm flexible. I love them both.
It's so nice, nice to feel so good about a meal, so good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You can see how Purina Puppy Chow helps a puppy grow on the outside. But even after he starts to look full-grown, he isn't, because inside his bones and muscles are still growing. So he needs the kind of extra nutrition that's in Purina Puppy Chow puppy food for a full year till he's full-grown, outside and inside. Puppy Chow for a full year till he's full-grown.
Tonight, Richie and the Fonz con a con man on Happy Days. Then Laverne and Shirley try to trap a spy, and Jack makes a big move on Three's Company. And on Taxi, the cabbies go Hollywood when a movie crew visits their garage. Then Starsky and Hutch could lose their friendship when they fall in love with the same woman. Watch tonight, right here on ABC.
Tonight on ABC's World News Tonight, crime and how it affects the forgotten victim.
The court system had nothing to